But if you go,
I would like to speak briefly about.
No.
Not in here.
Okay. Why are you tripling on? Are you tripling on? I'd like to bring this meeting to order, the council meeting of Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. The Township of Black River, Masson acknowledges the Apatipi and Sinapec Nation traditional territory. We live, play, and work here together, and together we shall build a strong and inclusive community. A reminder to all in attendance that council meetings are recorded and made available to the public on the township website for review. It was moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Charbonneau. Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council meeting of November 12th, 2024 be approved. All in favor? Number 3, any disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Councillor Charbonneau?
I have a interest for item 6A.
And I myself have an interest in 6A as well. So at that time, Councillor Bouchard will chair the meeting, chair the delegation. Which brings us to number 6, delegations. Mr. Larry Phibbs. Dan are going to leave the room. Larry, if you want to approach, we're going to give him 15 minutes, and the rest of council will hear the delegation as well as the public. Good with that? Good with that, Alan? It's all up to you.
Right here, over there,
You can have that table there.
right there.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have came more to these. I know I assume. Good? Yeah, you can proceed, yeah. I'm building a new gas station in Madison on a property here. Everybody knows where my gas station is now, I'm assuming. It's gonna be next door to that one. It's gonna be a full service. So I have a few questions. It's gonna be big enough to accommodate a few other businesses. I'm gonna have showers in there for truckers, and I would need to know from the town whether it can hold the water and sewer, which I have talked to James about it. I did talk to the old CEO and he said yes, but obviously things change, right? So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And it's an opportunity for about 25 employees to be able to have a job. And I'd like to start doing some groundwork before winter. So I have some questions about building permits, of course. And I did talk to James already about that. So we don't really have to dabble on that a whole bunch. But what I'd like to know is there any other approvals that I'm going to need from anybody? Is there gonna be any hiccups along the way? Is there something I'm missing? I have the engineers, I have the architects, we do the ground drilling right now. If I can get a building permit, the last thing I wanna do is get 3 months into this and somebody said you forgot something. So I would like to have an open communication with, well, James or whoever's involved, maybe Doug, I'm not sure, to make sure that it moves ahead. I can't afford to have very many hiccups. And what else are we doing? What is your significant? And I was wondering about a tax break while I'm building, and maybe a little bit of tax break into the first few months of after it's built. I'm not sure if that's something we can discuss. I'd like to put that on the table though. If anybody's good with that. And there was a highway beautification program that the old CEO was telling me about, and I talked to James about it again. Between the highway and once the highway was done, they were gonna beautify both sides of Madison. I was just wondering if that was still, now that he's gone, if that's still in play. Because then that really affects where I start and stop, right? Which I don't need an answer for that probably till spring or maybe a little later, but it's gonna be part of my initial money investment. So there's a few things I would like to clear up. The tax one, the beautification, and maybe any hiccups along the way.
Are you building more towards, I guess, going out of town from your
Yes.
old gas station?
Yeah,
or-
it'll be the next lot where I bought off of George Bourgeois. That old wooden building is gonna be gone, and it'll be there. I do have diagrams if you'd like to see the building. Rough sketch. Clarissa has it.
May I approach?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. It's really hard to read because it's a photocopy of a blueprint.
Mhm.
But I'll be looking for a building permit within 3 weeks, probably. And I did talk to James today. It sounds like shouldn't be too much of a problem with that. I really like the endorsement of the town too to work along here.
So you're gonna have the two, as unfortunate, but the public can't see it there, but you're gonna have two entrances still?
Yeah.
So you adding another entrance?
So I have 4 there now.
Okay,
So it'll be between the last 2 going towards Timmins.
Yep.
And the building will be on a little bit of an angle for better accessibility. And then the pumps could be out front, right?
Mhm.
If I turned it a bit the other way, the pumps would be off to the side.
so you're putting in-ground pumps?
No, above tanks,
Same.
but they'll be basically at a site, right?
Or are we, James, for water and sewer there? There's nothing actually right now, right? At that place.
No, I venture a guess to say that the capacity is okay, but I'll get a final answer for you before you even.
Because I have 3 stages to this project. The first one's a gas station, the second one is gonna be a car wash, and the third one was a motel. I mean, I don't know how far spaced out they're gonna be because I'm gonna concentrate on the first one, but there's 3 phases to this project.
So you would need a number from us, what the cost would be to put the water and sewers in.
I can do it also. The water and sewer is already on my property where the gas station is. And I can run it over. I can do all the groundwork. I have licensed pipe layers and everything too, so, and a licensed waterwork guys. If that's feasible with you guys.
Do we have to put a lift pump in there? To get that across?
Not 100%.
Yeah, we have to check that. Anybody else have questions?
Are you planning on leaving the other gas station there up and running or just until you're,
It'll
This new
stay
one is
there,
completed.
whether it's the same name on it or not. It'll still be the bulk station there for the transports.
okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
So when I was speaking with Mr. Phibbs earlier today, he did indicate that he'd like an expression of support from council. So I would say that a resolution would be sufficient for that, at least for now. And then if you needed something additional in the future, then. But if you'd like, I could prepare something very quickly for you.
Okay.
When you're talking gas station, are you talking like a convenience store and?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, it's gonna be a McEwen gas station. I don't know if you've seen them. I think
Yeah.
North Bay has one as you're heading out, that new motel on the right hand side.
okay.
That's a McEwen gas station. I'll have better prints coming than what you see there. It looks a lot better on the computer.
So your property ends where the rocks are going into the municipal side?
Yeah. Right, where the asphalt, the township put, that's where my property starts, and then my first gas station ends at just after the second laneway, and then I have 12 acres on the lot that I'm building that on. I own to the hydro lines on the way to Timmins. But I'm trying to squish every inch out of that property to develop it more, right?
Okay, so be it resolved that council expresses their support for the development as presented by Mr. Phibbs at the November 12, 2024 meeting of council. Moved. Councillor Hansel. Councillor. Yeah. Okay. Oh, anybody? All in favor? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll go get the other.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Councillor Bouchard. The agendas that some people have, I guess, in the front row, might not reflect, we have a 7A. And we have a 9E. That's not on there, so just in case you lose your place in here, so 7E is a verbal report. Oh, 7E is a verbal report by the interim clerk treasurer respecting declaration of surplus lands owned by the municipality. Go ahead, Mr. Lefebvre.
So, through you, Mr. Mayor, as requested at the previous meeting of council on Friday evening, I did research, the process by which the municipality will be able to divest itself of land. Essentially, much like any other municipality, we would have to declare it surplus. And we do have, the option, to have a direct land sale, should we choose to do so. So based on the discussion that we had previously, I did draft a resolution for council to consider, but I'm not sure if you'd like to have some discussion ahead of that.
Was there any further discussion that we needed to have on that? That we didn't cover last Friday? Nope. Okay. So we can dive right into the bylaw? Resolution, sorry. I'm gonna read it. The resolution would read, whereas bylaw 51-2007 of the Township of Black River, Masson sets out procedures for the declaration of surplus land and the sale of disposition of municipal land. And whereas Council of the Corporation of the Township of Black River, Masson deems it desirable to transfer lands to 100103898 Ontario Inc. Herein after called the purchaser. Now therefore be resolved as follows. The council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw at the November 26, 24 meeting, declaring the lands at 364 4th Avenue in Masson currently being used at the township office as surplus to the needs of municipality, and further to finalize terms and conditions of a direct sale to the purchaser, taking in consideration any requirements of our bylaw respecting sale and disposition of land and the municipal act. If I get a mover and a seconder on that. Councillor Allen and Councillor Goddard. All in favor? Here. Move on to number 9, which is the reports. We'll go through each one individually. So 9A is administration. MCO 2024-112 monthly report. If I could have a move in a second on. Okay. Councillor Charbonneau. Councillor Council. Any questions or comments regarding that report? Charbonneau.
Quick question for the hiring committee. Do we know when we're gonna set that up?
I don't believe it has to be a council decision, so we can set that up right away. But I don't believe we have to, we can just pick and choose because there's 3 positions. We can, with 6 councillors, we can alternate 2 per position if need be.
It's just mentioned in there,
Do we want to? We could do that now and just pick 2 per position. If anyone's interested in that? Go ahead.
I think the biggest thing that I was curious about is whether council was making the decision only on the town manager position, and then the town manager was going to make the decisions after that with input from council, or if council was going to make a decision on all 3. And then if so, who would you like on that? Which we could set on.
The 3 positions all end at the same time. So if it ends up being that the town manager can't start until after the treasurer, after the director of public services, then we're in a position. I would rather just see a couple of councillors throw their hands up and be part of the hiring process. Everybody's okay with that?
for all 3.
For all 3, yeah. Any takers for town manager?
For
Pardon me?
one on the committee.
Okay.
I can,
And Councillor Gary as well. Do we want to split up 2 per position, or do you want to do? Is council okay with having Councillor Charbonneau, Councillor Guidry, and myself for all 3, along with the municipal staff? Good with that? Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Charbonneau.
Just had a question for the forensic audit. Do we have pricing already? Or we didn't get any prices yet?
No, so the RFP hasn't been posted yet. I'm going to circulate that to council. It's ready to be posted, but I just want to make sure that the scope and the intent is met, because the last couple of RFPs have been a little bit not quite in line with what everybody had considered. So, but that would be circulated by tomorrow at the latest, and then posted the same way as we posted the other RFPs.
Any comments? Council Charbonneau?
Next is the dozer, do we have a price from Tormont yet?
No price from Tormont yet.
Did they come out yet?
To my knowledge, not yet, unless they came on Friday and I wasn't made aware, but. So they haven't inspected it yet.
And then also just in the pricing here, it said approximately 28,000. Is there a reason why we can't have the actual estimate?
No, I could bring in the actual quotes. I think they were legitimately about $100 difference from each other.
Okay, just be nice to see.
Yeah. I put it that way, so I didn't have to redact anything.
Council Bouchard?
Just, what's the year that, those are, how old is it?
I believe, actually, I could tell you that Councillor Charbonneau was the answer to that question.
I think it's 2005 though,
05, I was gonna
Oh,
say
yeah.
04, so.
I think.
20 years ago.
Got another question.
Any other comments for the report?
For the public works staff, it says there's a lot of interest. Do we know approximately how many, like? Because if you look further in the agenda, we're looking at hiring out, right? But if we got 25 applicants, then maybe that'll change.
Yeah, so we don't have 25 applicants. Sonia and I are gonna be doing interviews tomorrow. I think we got about 9 lined up. Going off memory here, but around that number for the vacancies that we have. in Public Works.
Is it vacancies or the interview?
Sorry, interviews to fill those vacancies.
Okay.
Council Charbonneau?
And then for Timmins, do we know when they start for building services?
I don't have a start date yet. I'm hoping it's this week.
Do we know the pricing?
We're gonna continue under the agreement that we had previously. But they were very clear that we're gonna have to renegotiate those terms in short order.
Okay, and also, before, I think we only had building, right?
No, and planning is needed. It was, building services and
as
planning
needed.
as well as needed.
And then just one last thing, Mr. Mayor, if I can.
Certainly.
Where it says policies and legislative effect, it just reminded me again, the delegation of authorities, we have to look at that. So just know that I didn't forget.
And it's noted, thinking that consensus is growing that we're just going to, rather than pick and choose and rip it apart, that we're just gonna remove it. So is that something that we need a full meeting for? Because we had discussed, we're gonna do a full meeting to do line by line, but if we're just gonna remove the delegation of authority, then that's a simple discussion we'd have at the next meeting.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the consensus was, Mr. Lefebvre?
So I believe I can have something prepared for the next meeting. I was planning to. I've got a couple of individuals providing input as well. And as long as they don't have any objections to it, I'll include their input from them. But yeah, I would imagine that we'll have that for the next meeting. And it would be a significantly stripped down version of what we have currently.
Perhaps we can look at Sudbury, because Sudbury removed the delegation completely. So they're a good case study. So maybe include that as well. They were, looks like they're going down the same path we are. Any other questions for the administration? No. Nope. We're just going to receive that now, so all in favor of that? I did. Okay. B, treasury report. If I could have a move in a seconder to open the discussion on that. Councillor Gathering, Councillor Allen. Any questions or comments on the treasury report?
Yeah.
Councillor Charbonneau.
First question. Craig Davidson, are we done with that?
I'm gonna turn it over to one of these two, but I believe so. Okay.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we had Mr. Davison in today, this morning. Oh, sorry, regrettably, I wasn't able to meet with Ms. Larson and Mr. Davidson. But I think there are a couple of things that and I'll let Ms. Larson clarify, but that it might be beneficial to have him follow through with before we sort of try to move it to another interim treasurer, or he was an interim treasurer. I think personally it would be a tall task to ask her to take that on without a little bit of help navigating sort of where we are. But like I said, they met today, and so I'll let you answer that.
Person.
To the mayor, council, I did meet with Craig. I would request that we keep him on for just a little bit. He is something as simple, and it's not as simple, but as our bank statements, they're not even begun for this year. We're November. He says it would take him about a week to bring them up to the end of October. There are quite a few issues he brought to my attention, and just coming into office, if this is something I had to take over right now, I would have a very hard time proceeding just with work required to do. It's really far, like it is really far behind, like the bank statements are not done. It is something that we really need to get done. On top of that, we need them for the audit.
To follow up to Councillor Charbonneau's question, then is it something that as he's doing, can he teach our staff to do it? Because we have accounting staff that I would assume should be able to do that. So is that something he can prepare as well as teach at the same time so that we don't get ourselves in this position again?
Council also note that I have done these positions in the past. So he can train them, but I am there as support too. I've done them, I know. I know he was in talking with Danielle today, so.
Yep.
So if we could just retain him for a little bit, just to get, something like that.
How long do you figure, like a month or?
Well, the bank statements, he said in a week, if he was given a week, he could do them. In the past, when he came in, there were too many other tasks being given to him, so that was kind of.
Or just like to have not a deadline, but just to know. If we put it at a month, then we know after a month, we're not spending that money no more.
Right. I don't want to request a report on it, but at least I agree with what you're saying, that anybody can take a 1-day job and turn it into 5 days too, so. But if we give him, if like you said, is a week sufficient?
Good mayor. He says a week. I know when I was in that position and I did them. Uninterrupted. A good 2 days to do a month.
Or yeah?
And he's saying you can do from
Yeah.
January to October in a week. Uninterrupted.
We leave up to your discretion, and by next council meeting, we should have a yes or no answer.
Mhm.
Again, if he's gonna teach the staff along the way, it'll take a little bit of time, but we just
If-
we have to utilize our employees to their fullest ability. Is that okay?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, there's I think there's just there's a magnitude of work that needs to be done to catch up. And even just in the last week, having Ms. Larson in the office, there's a world of difference, right? Having a little bit of the knowledge from what has happened previously. So I think that if you could catch everything up in the next couple of weeks on a go forward basis, not being behind and trying to catch up that again, that magnitude of work, things will be feeling a lot smoother.
Yeah, it makes sense, but don't want to stretch it. I just said 2 weeks, and now you're saying a couple, so I don't want two turning into three, turning. So
To be
on
clear,
November 26th, we have a meeting. Hopefully, we're caught up.
to be clear, I don't know if he's available this week, so that's
Oh,
what I'm saying.
Fair enough. And Councilor Bouchard,
Can we just have a review of it again on the 26th, just to see where we're at, like an update?
Yep.
And then we can make another further
Yep.
discussion or decision.
okay, no, agree with that. We'll update us in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Okay.
Most definitely.
Any other question comes, Councilor Bouchard? Charbonneau, right?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really like your suggestions on for the budget. I had one of my own, if we can see, but I was thinking for budget wise, to have a meeting in every town. To have the public input. Like Voltaire, Raymore, Madison, Chillington, Valgorny.
Which is basically number 2.
Mhm.
Word by word.
Yeah, that's just by the council though.
Yeah.
Right, but if we can all be there.
Yeah, so it would be whole tire. But all 7 of us there.
Yeah.
How would that fall under for? Does that have to be a regular council meeting? Okay. So it'd be 6 meetings. Between now and 5. 5, yeah. Councilor Allen?
We could put Raymore and Voltaire together because Voltaire doesn't have a space for to gather people together for just their residents. So the next closest space would be the hall in Raymore. Where we could put Voltaire and Raymore, we could gather them together.
Okay.
So otherwise, we have nowhere in Voltaire to hold the meeting.
Okay, that's.
There's
good.
no community
covered.
center there anymore.
In doing so, if as we move on to. The budget. Are we still gonna, I still wanna be on time. For a budget. So if we have. 4 public meetings now. We're not gonna have, will we have enough time? To do that before February? There's only 2 meetings a month. So we might have to do 1 meeting a week. For a month. Which I'm okay with because it's absolutely needed. Mr. O'Fay?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, part of the benefit, I think, of having just one counselor there, and maybe the mayor, would be that it wouldn't be the council meeting. It would sort of be a less formal town hall type meeting. And then each of those individuals could be responsible for bringing that back to the table. So it would sort of alleviate the need for all of those meetings to have them formally, with streaming,
Yeah,
et cetera. And still get the information back to the table. Again, entirely up to council. Something to think about.
But in your suggestions here, Ms. Larson, they're all good. I'm not. Were you thinking, Mr. Sharma, not to do the other two, or
no, I think that's great ideas.
Mhm.
the online participation, as long as we don't end up in a war of words again? So if it's just a survey that goes in and comes in and it's not,
Yeah, you don't answer.
as long as there's not a spot for comments, because I'd rather the public come here and do their comments, or to do this, the meetings by comments. So if you want us to approve any or all of three, Ms. Larson?
When I threw these suggestions out, I kind of was thinking one or the other, or only because I'm thinking timelines here. We're into November. You want this input so it can be entered into the budget. And that's where, when I discussed it with the interim clerk, where we said the one-on-one meetings, then we're not trying to get everybody together at a meeting to make sure they're all legit council meetings. If that is what you are wanting, legit council meetings, then we're gonna have to get on them and make them happen.
Yeah.
And it is going to be more often than when we're having meetings right now, to make sure that we get the input and then.
Councilor Gabbard?
If you're combining Raymore and Holtire, why couldn't you combine Shillington and Valganye? And then have one in Matheson? That's only 3. It'll be a lot
Mhm.
more efficient, maybe.
Yeah, we could do that, have 3 in the next, when would we need to have these completed by?
The sooner the better, then I have the information. And I was hoping this week I would get stuff out to department heads,
Mhm.
templates, and
Okay, well,
sooner
we
the
good with
better.
3 meetings then? 3
Raymore.
town halls or 3, Councilor Bouchard?
Yes, can we not just do like we were doing, just have a meeting, do one on Tuesday, one on Thursday, and then the following week on Tuesday, just. It'd be an extra
Yeah, get
meeting.
rid of it, yeah.
just-
Yeah,
because
we're
it's
just trying to do like a town hall, just to alleviate the regulated council meeting,
Yeah,
but I'm okay to do 3 in 3 days.
in 3 different locations.
Yeah.
We've done that so far, and it's, most of us, it works out. so,
Yeah. We just have to make it available to the public, because they're the ones that need to be here, it's not.
Yeah.
Sacrifice of 3 nights isn't bad. Okay, so if we do 3 town halls, or 3 open meetings, whatever we want to call them, Councilor Bouchard?
Do we want to send the questionnaires out before we do the meeting, so people can have an idea what we're looking for, like, or do we want to have the meetings first and then send the questions out?
Well, the idea was that it would just be an open meeting, but if we, between now and the course of whenever we're gonna do this, if we could do the online, for those people that can't make it out. Councilor Allen?
Also, I'm thinking maybe at these 3 meetings, we could have a suggestion Dropbox there at the meeting for people who aren't willing to maybe discuss things out loud or in front of other
Mhm.
people, and that way it's more of a confidential thing. If they just want to drop their idea in a box, then they can drop their idea in a box and walk away, and we can look at them after and then consider the ideas from there.
Good with that? leave it up to interim treasurers to when they would be. Between now and when you need them. Okay. Any other comments on that? Any other comments on the treasury report? Oh, Councilor
Like,
Garrett.
could we advertise that maybe in the enterprise so people know? Just
I
put
don't
our
see why
bill-
not, yeah.
Yeah. Any other comments on the treasury report, Councilor Bouchard? Charbonneau.
Charbonneau.
For the, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the election cost. I think that's on, yeah, that's on this. 124,000.
On,
The treasury report.
On the
financials.
the budget, provisional budget.
It's 124,000. I'm just curious if that includes the security cost or not.
I did see some documentation and I did see those costs, but I will double check and I can let you know for sure.
Councilor Bouchard.
On that report also, there was one for administrative contracts at 575,000. What was that for?
Unit Larson.
Don't look here.
Whereabouts was that?
Page two.
Second page.
1,100.
Oh, right there. 700, 600.
That's the account number, sorry. Through the mayor to Councillor Bouchard. Quite honestly, I am unsure. I am having some difficulty accessing a lot of information. I will definitely try and get an answer for you this week.
So this was all laid out as per accounts, and this is how the numbers all came out?
Through the mayor to Councillor Bouchard. So I chose this report. In viewing it, I think it's much easier for council. There's a budget figure and what we've actually spent. To go into the details, I'd have to go into AP and whatnot to really pull invoices up and whatnot. James might have had some info on the contract, what's in there that I don't.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Mayor, I think some of those costs. And again, I'm going off of memory here from budget time. But I believe it included a lot of the legal fees that we saw. Probably included some security costs. May have included some of the contract work that we had done. So again, that's just to give you an idea, but I'm sure we could bring back something.
Councilor Bouchard.
Yeah, it just said that, we worked out the legal fees are still 285, almost 286, and then we've got 575,000 on top of that. Separated from there. So I mean, it does add up to $750,000. So just question.
Through the mayor to Councillor Bouchard, in pulling AP, I should be able to see what was payable to these admin costs. Legal fees are normally separate. So like, that shouldn't be hard to.
Yeah.
Report back.
I think the whole gist of this report is just giving us an idea of what we should be receiving at our meetings as to what was budgeted and what we're spending, so that we can make be made aware of before the fact rather than after the fact. So as Ms. Larson stepped into this role, a lot of these numbers were already there. So if you want to make contact with her, and she'll be able to help you out throughout the week when she's sitting at her Councilor Bouchard?
It's well presented. I think it's well laid out and it, you know, I think it's all there. So it's besides the specifics, it helps a lot. Thank you.
Councilor Campbell?
I just want to mention the labor interruption. Now, is that from the start of the labor interruption in 2023, or is that just including 2024? And is that regarding like the winter contract? I mean, if we're paying out of 2024's budget for stuff in 2023,
Again, that might be a question to be answered next week.
Through mayor to council, and again, like I say, for me to go back into the office, pull up AP, pull up those counts, I'll be able to see what was paid. Or to whom. Honestly, I have no, I prepared this to show you what you know, this is something I would like to see you get, so you are aware. Details, I have honestly not had the chance to go in.
Councilor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Going forward, can we have this quarterly? So we can review like the budget and see where we're at and the questions?
I think I put it in here that I would
Yeah.
have it monthly to
Oh,
you.
okay,
As this is nothing, this is simple, I can have it to you monthly.
perfect.
Along this lines too, I'll have a little more info as I get used to the role and have some time. Sorry about that.
And I just want to make everybody aware that the Councilor 1, Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Mayor is from the beginning of the year. There's no way that I've spent $500 on meals and
Gonna say,
so,
no way,
Good.
spent $1,100.
yeah, you can see, so this is from previous council as well, from the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
Any other questions on the treasury report? No, okay, so we're gonna vote to accept the report, all in favor? Great. Item C is the recreation reports. Am I gonna move in a seconder, please? Councilor Gadry, Councilor Allen. Any questions or comments on the recreation reports? Councilor Allen?
I couldn't open the GFB information.
I can.
if you go back, go to the PDF and you can scroll down to it. I compass, yeah,
Oh, okay.
if they're opening the HTML, open PDF and you can scroll down.
Okay, gotcha.
Seeing as how you weren't able to open that, can I ask Lisa to give a brief description of what the GFB is?
Through Mr. Mayor, Mayor Council, the GFB is a Good Food Box program. I had a gentleman come into the office and discuss it with me. He runs the York Falls and Cochrane area for this program. You have an option to buy food through them. It's at an incredible deal of a price. He gets very good deals. It's open to anyone in the community to buy it. Then you're also allowed to nominate people to be able to receive it for free. You can buy one or give money and like pre-purchase for anyone. What he's looking for is to be able to have a pickup location actually in Matheson to expand it over to us. So he had asked about the arena, and so I wanted to present it to council to be able to make a decision about that. Yeah, I think that it's a great addition to the communities instead of. This is stuff that you can't get at the food bank. This is fruits, vegetables, that kind of stuff, at a very minimal cost.
Any questions or comments? Councilor Campbell?
Yes, Mayor. I think it's a great idea. I know the individual myself and he is actually from, I believe, Belgania originally. And he does have a big heart. I think it would be a good thing to bring to that. So.
Okay, so you're just looking for us to approve the arena as a location? Councillor Gathering?
I'm gonna have to, recluse myself,
Okay.
because it's a conflict of interest for me.
Um,
I have to leave the room.
yeah,
Okay,
please,
all right.
just fill out a form with, James.
Yep.
I have a question. At one point in the GFB information that you can't open up, the gentleman was looking for funds for a trailer.
Yes,
So that's not part of this recommendation at this point.
yeah, through Mr. Mayor, it is not right now. The interim clerk suggested that we look first for a location for him. And then we can proceed from there.
Very good. Councillor Helen?
Do you know how much each box costs?
Through Mr. Mayor and Council, offhand, I apologize, I don't have it in front of me. It was. There's two different size boxes. And that's the large one. The large box was $22. And in there is potatoes, carrots, onions. It's amazing. It really is.
Councillor Bouchard?
Are we looking for somewhere for him to drop the boxes off for people to collect or to,
Yes, this is, the recommendation is to use the arena As a-
to drop off?
as a community drop-off, yeah.
And then people would come here to pick up
Yes,
their goods. After hours or before, during, business hours?
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor and Council, it would be, this would actually be perfect because during that time, he's thinking like that we can work it out, that the arena's already open. So there's no one coming over to open, nothing like that. It would be once a month. And we would like to work it out that whether it's like men's hockey going on or skating, something will already be going on at the arena so that it's no one coming in specially for this.
Councillor Allen?
Is it, once this does get started up and running, is it something to look at if it's overwhelming for one day for it to happen? Is it something we could look at maybe doing twice a month? So that people have access to this kind of thing a little more often?
This would be up to their program.
Okay.
But right now he was thinking like once a month. They would have to either pre-order, everything's pre-ordered, right? It's not just a scholar. So then he knows how many boxes to bring. And, or he also makes the phone calls and would say, you know, hi Alana, you've been nominated for a box. So then Alana could go in and get a box for free.
Okay,
So, he would have that all planned out and know how much time he would need as well.
Any questions, comments? So the recommendation is that council approve the Good Food Box Program to utilize the arena once a month for 2 hours for pickup location. And that those pickup times will be orchestrated to coincide with someone already being at the arena due to arena usage. So everybody's good with that? All in favor? Julie? Yes, please. Nine D is the library report. Have a mover and a seconder, so we can. Councilor Darville. Councilor Bouchard. Any questions or comments on that? Councillor Bouchard.
The only question I had is that, I read in there that, for a while, Margaret Ann had to pay for the phone bill, but what's the reason for that? Like,
We're dealing with that operationally right now. I don't know how to put that properly, but it was a Councillor or Mr. Lefebvre, help me out.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I'll say that, yeah, there was some disagreement with respect to the phone service provider. And without getting too deep into it, I can tell you that I did have a conversation with Margaret Ann during budget time, and that was part of the consideration for the 2024 budget, and the issue has been resolved.
so it won't happen again, that she basically personally has to pay? Okay.
It's a unfortunate incident that hopefully the taint will go away very soon.
Well, the reports are pretty, I wasn't aware that we had still that much people going to the library. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I'll take the opinion. I should have back when Ms. Larson was speaking and the other people, is that we have some great volunteers in the community, and although Lisa's not a volunteer, what she does after hours for our kids and our seniors really deserves a big kudos, because you just go down the street now and everybody's smiling and happy. So big kudos to Lisa and her crew. But as well, Margaret Ann with, I don't know if you saw the pictures of the little house that she recovered from, I guess it was in Public Works. So she grabbed it, brought it home, and had her husband reside it and whatnot. So we repurposed it, but it looks beautiful, and it's something for the kids that would have just been gone the wayside. But someone had the foresight to say, you know, give me 10 minutes to redo something. So kudos to her as well. No other questions, comments, and library reports? Or to receive them, all in favor? 9E, we're gonna add is the fire department. FC 2024-10, if I can have a move in a seconder. Alan. Sure. Any questions or comments? Counselor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Red. As per all the fires that have been happening with the barns, is there something we can do? I don't know what caused all these fires, but you know, like us, we have insurance on a house and we need wood stove wet certified. Is there any way we can enforce that to be wet certified?
Well, we happen to have a gentleman who could answer the question in the public.
I didn't hear the whole question.
For let's say wood stoves, for example, can we have something to enforce wet certification?
So really wet certification is up to the owner, and usually through their insurance company. It's a requirement for insurance. We don't have anybody in our fire department that's a wet certified inspector. And even reaching out to the fire marshal, it's not a requirement that we do.
Is it a requirement that we can do?
I don't think it's something we can enforce.
I just feel that, I don't know, I'm not saying it's anybody's fault, and what I'm saying is, these are big fires, and most of our firefighters are volunteers, and their lives are at risk there. Something has to change somewhere, right?
And I was thinking along the same line as you, and with that question is there something that we can do as a town to either educate or help? It's because there are a lot of, they're all midnight burns, but it's something that we can do to help them to alleviate the burning. Is there something that they're building that's incorrect? Is there a practice that they're doing incorrect? Is it a heating system? So it's something that, like I said, we're putting people's lives at risk, but we're also putting resource at risk and the environment. So I don't know, maybe that's a question we're gonna ask you, Guy Lamb, is there something that we can do to help educate or to help better enforce their building practices so that we can reduce the number of midnight barns going up in flames?
I can answer it a couple different ways. One is actually I got an email drafted at home for James, some questions that I'll be asking him as far as on the building inspector side. On top of that, we also do home inspections. That doesn't mean that a homeowner does have to allow us into their house. We have no jurisdiction just to go into somebody's house without just cause. Even with just cause, there has to be certain criteria around, so it has to be mentally dangerous to life and health, especially with children. So it's more of an honor system. We ask the person if we can go in and look at their wood stove to either say yes or no. But there's also a liability in our end, not having somebody wet certified for us to say that their stove is approved or not without that certification. So it's kind of a tricky question. We do public education all the time. And we do offer anybody that wants us to go inspect their home, we're more than happy to go inspect it and give our opinion on it. But it would only be opinion. It's like electrical, right? I'm not an electrician. I can't go in your home and tell you that your electrical is not the code. I'm not an electrician, I'm a firefighter. So it's kind of a tricky thing, but we can help educate on fire prevention, smoke alarms, CO alarms, refuse around the fire, stuff like that, and educate people on that. But once again, they have to allow us into their home to do that. And that's for all residents in Blackbird, Madison. We get denied in a lot of homes. When we just go around and ask people to test the working smoke alarms, they'll tell us no. It's not an easy thing. And at the same time, we're 100% volunteers doing this.
Mhm.
Probably not the answer you want.
Well, no, thank you. Counselor Gallery?
I just wanted to say something totally unrelated to that. For Halloween in Valgogny, the firefighters came out and they had it like an open house for the kids. And it was very well received. I just want to say, well done.
Any other questions or comments? Counselor Bouchard?
For the last summer too, the fires we had no wood stoves whatsoever in those buildings, like the barn for the cows and stuff, they didn't have any wood stoves in there. So the wet thing really wouldn't apply.
That's just an idea. I wasn't there.
It's definitely. That's 4 buildings in less than a year, that's gone up, so.
Was it electrical? We don't know.
Do we have the authority to investigate what caused the fire?
Yeah, with the recent fires we've had, the magnitude of the loss, there's no way that you can investigate them.
It's just too much.
It's too much, and even a large loss fire, which would be in the $1 million range, we notify the fire marshal. They'll ask the extent of the damage, and 9 out of 10 times they won't come investigate it. It's hard to investigate. These last fires we've had, to find the origin is almost impossible.
Completely destroyed.
Yeah, they're fully engulfed when we arrive on scene.
I'm gonna just touch on that because I'm a former fireman, but when Chief Guy Lamb says that they're fully engulfed upon arrival, just so that everybody is aware and the public's aware and council aware, is that by the time a homeowner or somebody passing by in a car or somebody in the field notices there's a fire, by the time they get to their phone, they call 911. 911 figures out that it's Matheson and not some other community because it's happened many times. By the time they make that call, and then they dispatch Matheson, by the time you get 6 or 8 firemen leaving their, getting dressed at 2 o'clock in the morning, getting dressed. By the time they get to their truck and warm it up to get to the station, get on the truck. By the time we get there, it's it's pretty much a loss. So in determining the cause by then would be very, very difficult. So just I think a lot of the public thinks that when they call 911 and it's dispatched, it's 30 seconds later and there's 12 guys sitting at the fire hall. Do not. So we're some days, as the chief will mention, that we're very, very vulnerable. There could be days where there's a car accident, you got 2 people. So put out the poster for joining the fire department tonight. If anybody wants to join the fire department, please do so. Any other questions, comments? Receive all in favor? Carried. 9F winter maintenance, RFP results. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Charbonneau. Counselor. Questions or comments? Counselor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is this a full-time contract we're giving out for the winter? Is it on a need basis?
Just what there.
Well, actually, through you, Mr. Mayor, it is on an as needed basis. It's not going to be a regular thing. If like we mentioned, we've got some candidates coming in. If we're able to bring the manpower back up to where it should be, we obviously will need far less support over the winter, so as needed.
Counselor Bouchard.
Just a question, it states there for item 3 for the labor associated maintenance, that's gonna be on a need basis for now. The other thing is we should consider is revising our request for a mechanic on our website, because it still has Mr. Chris Ray's name on it. So
Okay.
change that, and we should look at updating the wage rate for what we're requiring. It's just inadequate.
Just what there.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, that's a meeting that we had today. So it's in the works.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I think just a comment really there. Going forward, I think we should be a little clearer on the information, because there's some pretty big price differences there for the hourly rates. And I read the tender myself, like the requester. It said the equipment not to be more than 10 years old. And I know some of it will be more than 10 years old, because 10 years old is 2014. It's pretty new, right? So the price difference, that's what it is. Right, like I know, I'm not gonna mention anybody, but I know some people were buying equipment to do this. Like, so that's why the prices are higher. So we should just be more clear on those items.
We can. Guess we can do that in the future, I guess. Maybe we can reach out to Councilor Charbonneau and on a one-on-one basis, just to get more specific details with. So we're not naming names. Right? Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Moving on to bylaws. Bylaw number 2024-43. Being a bylaw to appoint an interim treasurer, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 12th day of November 2024. Mover to seconder, please. Council. Questions, comments? All in favor? Bylaw number 2024-44, being a bylaw to amend 2024-35 and appoint an interim clerk, be read a first, second, third time and finally passed this 12th day of November 2024. Moving to seconder, please. Questions or comments? All in favor? Move on to 11 Well, under other business, we have now, a quick discussion on tax bills. Who's that? Steve?
Yep.
Oh. Council, did you want to take the floor on the discussion here, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had a few residents reach out to me regarding their tax bills. Some are asking, how can they tell if payments have been made already? Let's say on a deceased family member that owns a household, they don't know if their taxes have been paid or if they're gonna be charged again. Others are stating that when they're reading their tax bill, they've already previously made a payment. They don't know where it shows on here. They're not receiving receipts. I myself are kind of in the same boat. Like when you make a payment on something, you kind of expect a receipt in return showing that you did make that payment. I know you mentioned through emails that payments are shown in brackets. I see here in this one that you provided with us that the brackets show less interim billing of 1505.84. Would that be a payment made?
Through the mayor, to Councillor. Did you want me to give you just a quick
Sure.
rundown?
Yeah.
So I give you two different tax bills. And I'd first like to say, anybody who has an issue with the tax bill, they're more than welcome to come in and we would
Mhm.
explain them to them. So the first one I'm going to go over, let's just say has a total amount of 3,215.86. So the top portion of your tax bill reflects the taxes, the municipal tax levy has your education tax levy. It shows a total here of 3,084.10. That is the total taxes for the year for that property. When you go down and it shows less interim billing, and that's in brackets, the interim billing was done in February, so it has to be removed from the total taxes billed. That's why it's in a bracket. Here it shows past due / credit, and we show 1637.60. That is past due. If it was a credit, it would have been in brackets. So this total amount owing on this tax bill is 3,215.86. The two bottom portions, as people get very confused with this as well. The bottom portion is your first installment due. It's due November 5th. It shows an amount due. If there is a past due credit, if it was a credit, it would be in brackets. This is an outstanding amount owing on this tax bill. And the current amount is the current installment due November 5th. So they take the two amounts and that's what's owing. The second installment is due December 5th. It shows a total amount due. If I went to the other tax bill that I showed you, again, the municipal taxation at the top, tax levy, 3,426.77. It shows your final taxes, less the interim. Again, because that was already billed in February, we have to take it off of the total amount. In this case, there's a bracket under the past due / credit. This reflects that payments have been made. You go down to the bottom, well, this tax bill has been paid in full, so there is actually nothing owing. I don't know if that's it's a quick rundown. As per your inquiry about deceased, if somebody in the family, if they've received the tax bill and they have it, they brought it in, gladly explained. There is not a section that states on November 5th, I made an amount payment in this amount, and it doesn't list, it's compiled in a total amount paid. We do have all that on our system. So if they wanted to see, we could print it all out, show them what the payments were, if there was interest and whatnot. Again, receipts, I had briefly told you. Past practice. If you sent in a pre-stamped envelope, addressed envelope, we would mail it to you. If you asked us to hold your receipt, because I do understand in the past year or so, they changed the policy, and if you come in and ask for something to be reprinted, you're gonna be charged. If you asked us to keep your receipts, because we have to put that into the system. We had a file out front that, you know, we'd put all the receipts together, and if you come in and said, could I have my receipts? We could hand you them. We do not send receipts to everybody that makes a payment. We don't, unless you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope.
Councillor Allen.
Quick question, this is the first year I've ever gotten a tax bill in the mail. Usually I don't, usually my mortgage company gets them and I don't get anything from them, so I usually have to pay for the copy in order to get a copy of it, but I was curious as to why this year of all years I actually received a tax bill, and it's the first time in 14 years of owning a property that I've ever gotten a tax bill.
The marriage has the mortgage ceased?
No. I'm just wondering if I'm getting this, if other people are getting it as well, if anyone else has a mortgage and gets a tax bill and
On your
hasn't
tax,
normally before.
on your tax bill. Where it says mortgage company?
Yeah.
If that's on your tax bill, that means it's supposed to go to that bank.
Okay,
And in the past, it does, we don't print two tax bills, it goes to the bank automatically.
okay,
In,
great, so maybe
in,
that's
uh,
something to notify some community members about, that if they did receive a tax bill and they don't normally get it, to double check that, because otherwise mortgage company is gonna go after them too, right?
in Councillor Allen's defense, I've had a couple of coworkers just this week, or last week, I guess, said the same thing, that their bank is not taking payments for taxes anymore enough to pay their own. That's Kirk Lake.
Okay.
Councillor LeFevre?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I will note that I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain that those bills for the banks are generally electronically sent as well. So while you could certainly forward that their way, they should already have it.
I'm going to double check just to make sure, so that I can come back and either let people know or what have you, but just thought I'd ask it while we were in the midst of discussion.
Councillor Bouchard?
Just a question, it's on the line there, it says past due dash credit, is it, it's not really past due, it's due but not past due.
Mayor, actually, on the one where it's 1,637.60,
Yeah,
that is past due. It was due in February. The installments in February and April were not paid in this case, so
okay,
they are past due.
but the less than term billing of 1,500 is paid above it.
Because the interim billing was done in February, and this is showing, like, the above shows final 2024 tax bills.
Okay, yeah.
We have to take off the interim billing, so that's why it's showing as a credit, because it had been billed.
Okay, so normally it wouldn't say past, it would just say due and credit?
No, this is how it always prints,
Oh, yeah,
past
okay.
due or credit.
Okay.
If it's a credit, it's in a bracket. If it's past due, it's as it shows there.
I will say that I've always been confused by these invoices as well. And I know I have brought forward in previous council, if there was a way that we could pay these on a monthly basis, so individuals that have a that want to do a budget, they can pay once a month. Now, I know they can, and if someone come in and pay, and it'll just keep adding up to their interim billing, it'll keep adding up, but as Councillor Campbell has mentioned, and I've talked to quite a few people, I've spoken to a lot of people in the past month that have said that they've paid a water bill and gone in, and then they get a notice that the water bill is due, and they go in and they have to argue with our staff, and then finds out that, yeah, they did pay it, and it wasn't it wasn't credited, it was credited the wrong account or the wrong address or something. That's something you can't answer right now, obviously, but it's a concern that I know the residents have. So is this generated through our accounting software or is? I'm just wondering what other towns use, what they look like, because,
Yeah,
okay,
Exactly like that.
because they're using the same computer software as us, most.
because the other issue is you get these two things, you gotta keep this, you gotta remember to keep it. Right, if you don't, once you pay this, you gotta keep this entire bill for the next 2 months to pay it,
Year.
pay your next one, yeah, which is. Ms. Larson?
Through the mayor to council, I know, in the past, like you mentioned the monthly payments, it is something that I put in tax bills and utility bills on numerous occasions, asking the residents if they were interested in, it's like pre-authorized payment. And I had an ongoing list for, I'm gonna say a couple of years, and I had 10 people say they wanted it. The cost and time to implement this for 10 people, it wasn't. It is something that this system can do.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yep, okay. Any other questions or comments? So where did we want to go with this, council? Just,
I think more just for information for the townspeople.
perhaps at our 3 town hall meetings, we can bring an example and explain it, because yeah, to people that don't know what a credit is, if they don't see brackets around it, they just, unless there's brackets around a number, you owe it, right? So that might be an option to move forward. Okay. Something to move on there then. That brings us to adjournment. Oh, no, I have the old one, sorry. Brings us to the question and answer period. So we're gonna take 15 minutes to answer questions, but first, Mr. Lefebvre is gonna answer last week's questions.
Well, put me on the spot. I thought you guys were gonna answer them, but I can do that for sure. So. Test my memory here, but we had a question about an audio system. Or improving the audio at least. So aside from trying to speak up, we have also ordered microphones.
It didn't work.
So we've ordered some a microphone system, so it'll improve the audio both here and with the online viewing. So it's in the mail. We did do some research on the quarry that we received an inquiry about. And I have been unable to confirm that anybody has been approved to have a quarry down Butler Lake Road North. Actually, I've got Mr. Walsh here as well, who made some phone calls and also was able to confirm that we are not able to confirm that there's a quarry being put there. So if anyone does have some more specific information that they'd like me to look into, I'd welcome it for sure.
Third question was,
Accessible parking.
yes,
Essentially with the accessible parking, the way that it is right now with the signs up on the building, it's actually not really enforceable under the Highway Traffic Act. So those are signs that should be moved, and we will look at moving them in the spring, as well as painting the spaces so that they're easily identifiable.
Very good. So now we'll open it up for up to 15 minutes. So if any of the public wants to ask a question, just as long as you state your name and maybe your ward. That way we know who can help us out. Yes, sir. Yes, that would be you, Steve Wilson.
Anyways, I live in Ward 2. I'm Steve Wilson. I'm sure you've heard me. I'm just wondering about these recent job postings that you put out. One of them was only posted for 1 day, the other ones for only a week. And now the most recent one's for about a 3-week period. So where do you advertise these jobs when you post them? And what's the normal, do you have a process or procedure or? Because one was posted for 1 day on Facebook,
Do you know which job that was, Steve?
the seasonal one. But then when I was looking for the agenda on Friday, it still said that it was closed on October 30th, I think it was. But then up on top, it said closing today with an exclamation mark, very disorientating. Is it open, isn't it open? And then why are the equipment operator jobs only posted for, I believe, from a Wednesday to a Wednesday? But yet the other jobs now in the administrative level are posted for, I believe, till the end of the month. So a 3-week period. Don't you think you would get a bit better, what'd you say you had, 9 interviewees?
Mhm.
Do you think maybe if it was out there for 2 or 3 weeks, you'd get 20? And where do you advertise? Have you considered going to equipment operator training places to maybe draw in some 22-year-olds that are getting into the industry and might have a whole career here? Just suggestions and thoughts I had when seeing what seemed like a bit of an odd. What is the procedure and process for posting jobs? 10 days, 2 hours, whatever. What are the details? That's my question.
No, very good. We will look into it. Very good question. Thank you very much. Ms. Brown.
So my name is Katie Brown. I'm Ward 2, so through the mayor to the assistant director of recreation. I was just wondering if we had a timeline in regards to the ice being put in. And then my second part is I'd just like to echo what the mayor has said. Your presence in the community has been wonderful, and it's nice to see sport and recreation coming back into our community. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, through mayor and council. So we have had a lot of ministry orders that we have had to follow through with to be able to even start up the ice. These were not just replacing light bulbs. These were moving full electrical panels, as well as installing doors. Really, really large amounts of work that we have been at for all summer. This wasn't small things by any means. Are we proceeding? Absolutely, we are 100%. I'm very pleased to share that I've had many outlying areas reach out to me regarding ice rentals and bookings with NDHL, Iroquois Falls, Smooth Rock, Cochrane, many things. We're also going to be adding in the Ringette lines this year because Ringette also has a very difficult time finding ice in Iroquois Falls. So we're just waiting to finish up those orders. So our fingers are crossed for by the end of the month. That's our hope. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Pauline.
Pauline Francis, Ward 3. This past June or July, I'm not really sure, but I did bring a presentation to council regarding the water and sewer billing and billing cycle. Kathy Horgan was in charge at that time, and she deferred it to the council. I'm wondering if your council will be looking at that and putting it on the agenda really soon, or if you want me to bring it back as a delegation.
Can we can decide that right now. No sense waiting 2 weeks. I'd like to see you bring it back because, it's better in person. I don't like the Zoom and the audiovisual stuff, so personally, I like to, if you could bring it back, that way we could refresh our memories on it, but I'll leave that to everybody's nodding.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay. There you go.
She doesn't
There's your
know if
answer.
I will.
There's your answer. Mr. Phipps.
I'm Larry Pibbs, Word One. I was just wondering about Charbonneau's comment about 10-year-old equipment. We work for the MTO and all kinds of places with older equipment than 10 years old. Last winter it was done with machines over 10 years old. I think it would be falsifying to get somebody to buy newer equipment and not promise them the whole winter. You're just leading somebody into a disaster.
Okay, let's get back to you on that one.
Well, that's true right now.
Oh. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
There's nothing against old equipment, I have it myself, right? I just wanted to clarify when we put out tenders that they should be properly written. That's what I was getting at.
Is there any chance of changing that rating to older equipment? Because if somebody has to buy new equipment and you pay these people in and you only have 3 days of work and you have a $500,000 of machines sitting in your yard, that's just setting up for failure, right?
Yeah, I agree. We have to look at the,
If it was a 5-year contract, then you buy the newer equipment.
that's right.
Good.
Yeah, I got a head nod there. We're gonna look at that.
Okay, you got the head on?
If I could respond,
Yes.
through you, Mayor, to all the honorable councilors sitting at the table. I believe the wording in the request for proposal indicated that it was 5 years of age. Our 10 years are for newer. There's also that last part of the resolution that you passed with regards to should that equipment not be available, then the next supplier would be supplying that equipment at the same rate that the low tender. So the thought process in that whole award and tender is maybe to solve your situation next year. Municipalities have done this in the past. They've gauged where the interest is and where the going rate is. The Ministry of Transportation puts out rates that they call 127 rates, Ministry 127 rates for equipment. So I'll use a quick example. If we had a piece of equipment that was going to be paid this year at $150 an hour, and it's going to take that individual 8 hours to do the job, you're going to pay that piece of equipment or operator $1,200. If number two, who had bid $200 an hour, can bring a piece of equipment in here when that one breaks down, do the job in 6 hours or less. At $150, now you're getting that job done for $900 instead of $1,200. So the whole process should be gauged on the abilities of the operator and how new the equipment is, because the newer the equipment, the more apt that it's not to break down. So the escape clause for you folks is if that piece of equipment can't be provided within the 4 hours that it's required, it automatically goes to the next bidder, the offer to the next bidder. We ask for one piece of equipment. If that person provides that piece of equipment, it breaks down. We move on.
Okay. Charlie Cook.
Charles Cook, Ward 3. I commend Mayor and Council for you as you're trying to clean this all up here and try and make it better. And you say you're gonna have 9 employees, which I'm happy about it. Like, I'm a contractor too, but I'm glad you're getting employees. But and I'm sure Larry is too. He's all about deadlines. He like, what is the timeline for the roads to be cleared? Or are they gonna just say, no, they called for 1 snowplow, 1 grader, and say it's Thursday, and then by Sunday, there's still, for whatever reason, you don't have the breakdowns or employees, are they just gonna keep that same 1 grader, or are they gonna hire a number of graders? Or a number of snowplows, or like, there's a road standards, like, I wonder who's gonna tell me if the North Road, which doesn't matter to me, I'll get out, but I get lots and lots of phone calls. And people complaining, when are we gonna get out? When are we gonna get out? I said, I don't know, I'm already at work. But, is there a timeline when all the roads in Black River, Matheson are gonna be plowed, whether they're gonna hire more graders, more plows, more sanders, whatever they're gonna do, or they're just gonna say, no, we're gonna take one grader like they've been doing with the grading all fall. The roads are all a mess, and none of them are graded because they only have 1 or 2 graders up when they could have had 4 or 5. Larry's was sitting, I had 2 sitting, the roads are a mess. Everybody's phoning me, I'm staying quiet, but I just wondered too if anybody was gonna get on the ball and start getting more organized. And know, like, I'm happy with the process. I was higher, I didn't get it, but I want to know if needed, they'll be out in a certain time limit. Like, it shouldn't take 5 days to get one road plowed. If I could get just a little clarification, because I'm not blaming anybody, because we know how last year went, but I took tons and tons of phone calls and I couldn't answer and nobody would return the phone call anywhere.
Okay.
And I didn't know who to call. I don't even know if there's an on-call number. I told them call the on-call number. I don't even know if they have that anymore. Use on it?
Honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, who answers it? I heard there's only 4 people there because they don't answer. That's what I'm told. These guys here phone me all the time. They can't get through. They can't get through. Cattle trucks were coming. Milk truck can't get through, stuck on the hill. You know, I'm already busy. I don't mind pulling them out once in a while, but after a while it gets tiring. Like, you know.
Okay, so the 2 questions are regarding the standards that we do.
Yeah.
And the second one is the on-call phone.
No, well, yeah, I want to know if your procedure is, I didn't want to make a long story. I just want to know if they're going to keep hire the 2 contract machines or in one that's good. Answer it.
Yeah, no, that's good points. I don't know the answer. I don't, are we prepared to answer or do we need to? Mr. Lefebvre?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I can give you a sort of a brief answer. We do have to maintain the roads in accordance with the MTO standards. So maybe at the next meeting, I can bring forward a little bit of a plan or sort of a flow on what that's going to look like. And then, yes, there is an on-call phone and we'll look into that.
So you don't really have the answer whether you're going to hire more than one contract equipment.
Well, so the bottom line is we have to meet the MTO standards for sure. So if we can do that with 1 additional truck, then we would go with 1 additional truck. If we needed 2 or 1 and a grader, then we might do that. So like I said, it's a little bit more, I guess, complicated than I can give you a good answer for right now, but I can come back with some sort of a workflow so that you have an idea of how we're going to meet those standards, and maybe clarify how we're going to use the information that we collected through the RFP process.
Thank you.
And then
And if we have a complementary staff,
right.
then we may not require outside sources.
And also through you, Mr. Mayor, I sort of feel like Mr. Wilson got cheated. He's the only one that didn't receive any kind of answer. So
That's cool. I'm in no hurry. I'm just curious as to why it seemed to be a couple different programs for which should be the same procedure.
But no, he's got a couple different jobs, so I want you to take time to look in and see what the different jobs are. And ideally, we just want to have some time to get to the proper answer, not just off the cuff answer. We want one that's gonna be the honest and you can live by. So we'll get you the answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi, Garth
Sorry.
Francis, 343. I just have a suggestion with everybody driving around in pickup trucks, plow trucks, graders. If they see a sign that's damaged, to report it. The latest one I saw just today, when you're driving down in Remore, past the old fire hall that's not there anymore, and you're driving towards the dump, the road sign with the two yellow with the arrows isn't facing the road that's gonna go into the ditch, it's facing sideways, so. But like, if everybody drives around and sees a sign damaged, it's dark. And there's big lawsuits if you got a road patrol driving around checking roads and the stop sign or something's damaged but you got a lot of resources driving around, they can see a sign missing and just report it and get it fixed before something bad happens. That's all I got.
Okay, no, very good. We'll look into that as well. Yes, sir.
My name is Jerry Delphi, Ward 6, live on Bunder Lake. My comments are in regards to the proposed quarry brought up earlier. We didn't seem to have much information, but I've been doing some information in regards to this proposed quarry for the MTO. Councilman Bouchard and I have been trading some emails. I have some information I'd like to share with him later. I can give
Okay,
the rest of you.
fair enough, yeah.
From what I know right now, the MTO is proposing a quarry that's only 1 kilometer from the nearest residence on the north end of Bunder Lake, or west side. They want to use the north road to haul in the proposal. Anyway, they're in the study works now. They've drilled holes, so this is fairly advanced. So I'm gonna have a meeting with the MPO hopefully in the next couple of weeks myself. But they're looking at opening up for public consultation probably in the spring. If their study work go ahead, if everything goes, it's a go without some opposition. So the residents are concerned, and so we're hoping for some support. I'll give you what I have. There's been a fair bit of work done to date, kind of behind the scenes. That's what I know so far, but there is concern with a lot of different aspects of the quarry, from health and safety. I'm not sure where the town lied in regards to bylaws. I've read through them, but it seems like, they can be started. I guess I'll let you guys look into that and see how that falls.
Okay, as I think I emailed you back as well with Councilor Bouchard that we'll meet after tonight and then take the information, we'll give it to staff and we'll give it to other council people to review.
Right.
Just so that when and if we need support, that everybody's on board as to what we're doing. So.
Right.
If you don't mind staying after school, and we'll talk.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll share what I have. I'll get you out something to.
Yeah.
Throughout this, what we have today.
Yep, no, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Yep, very good. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, item related, Ward 4. Davy John beside me, being Bowman on the right here. Apologize, I'm not used to speaking in public meetings, but I can just kind of try to briefly share our concerns. You're appointed as a 3-man committee to try to build another church for the Old Order committee in this area. And we applied back in August and had a meeting there, I think, with Mr. Levites, and we tried getting back a couple of times. We didn't get too much response. We haven't had a case number yet. We got the approval from the Porcupine Health Unit. We just kind of wondered where it sits. We were hoping to get in some concrete work done this fall yet, because the farmers from the local area seem to be willing to help much better in the springtime before the field work starts. And so we just wondered if we could gently kind of hopefully get something in yet this fall, get the go ahead for that. Same time, sorry, at the beginning I was going to say thank you to the councilor and everybody here for the good they do. I'm sure there's a lot of good they do behind the scenes that we don't realize. So, if you had anything else you want to say on it?
Yeah, I just want to second that about the council trying, yep. You've got a big job ahead of you and I'd say you're trying, work together as with each other, not against each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the kind words. You're familiar with this then? Okay, go ahead.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we do have a meeting, in December. With a little bit of luck, this will be, well, it shouldn't take too much luck, because I know that, your application is ready to go. So we should be able to look at that at the meeting in December. So I know it's been a long time. I know you're waiting, but, this is the first step forward, so.
I think when we had the meeting in August, it was that September it's gonna be.
Councilor Jones, very short. I don't know. Thank you, sir. Since we have Timmins coming back, can we not just get them? Like, I understand they've been waiting for a long time and concrete, you can't, like, you can do it in winter, but it's not ideal, right? So can we get Timmins to review the permit?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, you're looking for a severance, right?
Yes, but if you give us that, go ahead, you can put in the foundation, it's called, with this, with the land, when it comes on, it's part of our community and he's more than happy to let us build. If we can get a temporary permit so that we can at least get the concrete work done this way.
I will have an answer for you. Not by today. Thursday morning at 8
This week.
this week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You've got 40 witnesses to hold you to it.
And the concrete will be poured by 10.
Yeah.
Excuse me, do you have a copy of their card?
Okay, we have an application.
Very good. That's it for the question and answer period. Moved by Councillor Allen, seconded by Councillor Charbonneau. Be it resolved that this regular council meeting is hereby adjourned at 8:17 p.m. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.